Each week, we ask you to vote in our Friday lightning round poll for your favorite topic of the week that you want the panel to talk about. Well, this week, you chose the Benghazi hearings by an overwhelming margin. So we're back with our panel to talk about that. Charles, I'll start with you. I mean, there was a hearing this week. There are questions about whether there was a whole lot of new information there. But there's a press to keep pushing for more, and word that Congressman Issa is going to subpoena a couple of key State Department folks.
Yes, and I think the most important thing that came out was the remarkable degree of control that the Secretary of State at the time, Hillary Clinton, had over the process in choosing the members, in reviewing the draft before it was done. That isn't how you do an independent probe, and I think that calls into question a lot of stuff, including why was she never interrogated for the report.
Yeah, Jonah, there's a lot of, there have been many questions about, choosing the members who were on the review board and who was made public. And all of that came up.
She picked 4 of the 5 members of the independent review board. Somebody who was interviewed wasn't interviewed under oath. This was not, the Pickering and Mullins tried to make this sound as if this was like an FBI investigation, but an FBI investigation is done very, very, very differently. Ultimately, I think the problem here is that we know what happened. Is the White House was caught flat-footed on 9/11. They were unprepared in a lot of different ways, and they responded very politically in the middle of a presidential campaign. And by dragging this out for so long, the irony is they've changed the focus from what was an Obama scandal into a Hillary 2016 scandal, and that's probably, it's going to have a half-life until then.
Yeah, and regardless of what led to this point, it was heartbreaking to see the families this week who are sitting there still waiting for answers about what happened to their loved ones. All right, on to our next topic. Today, brand new regulations that will undoubtedly have a huge impact on the coal industry, or at least the coal plant industry, Chuck, in the U.S.
Yes, this was not a surprise, but the president or his EPA administrator announced strict new limits on how much carbon can be produced by a power plant and pretty much rule out any new coal-fired plants. Now, of course, this is going to be fought in the courts by the industries, and that could take a long time. It could go all the way up to the D.C. Circuit or even the Supreme Court. But I think it's part of a kind of a, crushing down, if you like, of the coal industry that the administration has been committed to for some time. And I don't think, however, it's the end of the road for coal, because interestingly, American coal is now being exported in tremendous amounts, including to, of all places, Europe, in part because some of the energy measures they've taken over there to fight climate change, such as or other environmental issues, taking nuclear power offline, have created a lot of demand for coal because they can't produce enough solar and wind and so forth. So it's all part of, I think, a long-term trend of moving the U.S. coal industry into a smaller place, but that might be more dependent on exports, and so it might survive that way.
There were a number of Democrats who spoke out against this today, because for them, folks like Joe Manchin in West Virginia and other places, it's critical to their job base and to the folks there.
This is also part of the big shift to red state status permanently for Kentucky and West Virginia that used to have very strong Democratic parties.
Just 2 quick points. One is, my understanding is even though it'll be challenged in the courts and it's a temporary thing, it goes into effect immediately.
And without congressional input.
And second, I want to congratulate President Obama. He promised that under his energy plan, electricity rates would skyrocket, and this is another one of his promises that he's trying to fulfill.
Well, okay, we'll put that in the achieve column.
Of course, natural gas is coming online, and it's cheaper.
But it's also covered by the same regulation.
Yes, but all natural gas plants already meet the standard in this regulation.
It raises that question again, the criticism again that this administration is willing to use executive power to do what it cannot do on Capitol Hill. All right. It's the end of the week. I want to make sure that we get to your winners and losers. Jonah, would you like to start us off?
Sure. My winner, it's not a cheery one, is Bashar Assad, who has now successfully gone into the books as having the most successful chemical weapons attack in human history. It completely changed American foreign policy and cemented his power for the foreseeable future. And my losers are the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee who didn't have the grace or the self-confidence or the just basic decency to sit there and at least listen to the families of the victims of the Benghazi attacks.
I did see some backlash for that. Do you think they're going to hear more about that? Do you think that the average American realizes they did that?
I don't know if the average American knows it because it doesn't get covered very much, but I think it grinds in to the families and makes them all the more convinced that the Democrats just want this to go away and don't care about them.
Where do you think we go next on Benghazi? I mean, it's far from over.
More hearings? I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Someone will eventually be arrested, we hope. Okay, Chuck, your winners and losers this week.
My winner, I went for domestic politics. I picked Bill de Blasio, who is the Democratic Party's newly crowned nominee for mayor of New York, and the polls that have been coming out in the last couple of days show that he is way ahead of Joe Lhota, the Republican, and seemingly destined for victory and status as the new rock star on the American left for the progressive policies articulating there. My loser is John Boehner, and not because of anything he did wrong. I don't think he did anything especially wrong this week. I'm just reaching out in sympathy to John Boehner because I think his life is miserable. He has a very, very tough job.
We got to quickly get to Charles. Make sure we get him in.
Loser Israel. It's seen what happened with Syria and the mad embrace of the new Iranian moderates, and it knows it's now alone in the world and at a change of pace. The winner are the two elderly clowns who had a traffic accident outside of a fair. They were both unhurt, except Dimples, the clown, the driver, suffered a minor bump on the head. But as reported by AP, police said that Dimples, the clown driver, was wearing clown shoes, but the oversized footwear apparently didn't play a role in the crash.
That is all factual information.
And that is remarkable, and I want to salute Dimples.
Dimples
driving with a size 38 shoe successfully.
But that didn't contribute. Thank you, gentlemen.